Now, children are not immune to the impact of climate change, and many youth in South Africa want to see their concerns noted, not only at the climate change conference, but also with their government.
I am a pioneer for change. I am a youth that wants to speak for the rest of the world, and I can't do that because no one is taking me seriously.
Youth Representative Catherine Sebi is voicing just some of the frustration young people feel about the ongoing discussion on the impact of climate change on them.
It affects me a lot when the government doesn't take my ideas and my contribution to COP17, for an example.
But South Africa's government would argue that it does care. It recently commissioned this report exploring the impact of climate change on children in South Africa. The report calls for urgent action for the well-being of children. It warns that climate change could severely affect the health, education, nutrition and safety of the nation's 12 million impoverished children unless strategies are implemented soon. Ida Gurma is with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF.
Will definitely suffer the most, and it's also because of HIV/AIDS that problem is compounded, so we really need to make sure that we address that. The findings also show that actually it's also the most populous areas of South Africa that are going to be very vulnerable to climate change.
Officials at South Africa's Ministry for Women and Children admit that policies do not adequately address the impact of climate change on children. But Noluthando Mayende-Sibia says her ministry will be more attentive to the concerns raised by youth.
We have a responsibility to do this for the sake of our children who will be inheriting this earth.
Young South Africans say that the environment can be better preserved with intervention and that the government has a critical role to play.
I just believe that governments should actually lead by example. They should put climate change on the spotlight and say, okay, South Africa, here's a problem we are facing and we have to do something together. We must come together and fight against it. We speak so much about fighting the teenage pregnancy and all those other things. But climate change is also an issue that we have to tackle.
I believe that climate change is going to affect our future tomorrow. So I believe that if we can take actions today, we might be able to combat it and save the future generation. So that is why I am so passionate about it, because I believe I can make a change. I believe I can make others out there make a change as well and see what's happening around the country and around the world.
Now, the report commissioned by the South African government on the impact of climate change on children also predicted a spike in average temperatures by 4.3 degrees Celsius by 2090, already up 0.6 degrees Celsius since the 1960s.